Welcome to Downballot Roundup, where I introduce you to Democratic candidates running in local elections throughout the country. I'm Bryan Randolph, and today I am here with Dr. Kim Sexton Lewter, who is running for the North Carolina State Senate in North Carolina's 34th District. Hello, Kim. It is so good to have you here.
Hello, hello, Brian. I am glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful to have you. Why don't you start by telling me a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, I am just your everyday mom, working mom, professional educator, kind of working in nonprofit management now, and I am really just your neighbor. I try to let people know I'm your average, typical neighbor. I have worked as a community organizer for over 30 years. In very informal settings as a youth, just organizing in my public schools and moving on through college and then in more community based settings. So, for the past 30 years, I have been working to advocate for the rights of the underdog and for people who seem to often get the short end of the stick. And so, that's me in a nutshell. I am a doctorate in leadership in organizational leadership, and I know that that's something that we need. I am a master of public health and really believe in science, and in the midst of this public health crisis, because COVID is not over, we need folks who just talk some common sense when it comes to that and use some evidence-based research in the things that they bring forth. And I am also a master of peace and conflict studies, and so that combination, I think, is something that we absolutely need in the General Assembly here in North Carolina.
Excellent. And can you tell me a little bit about District 34?
So, Senate District 34 is a small, I want to call it a suburb of Charlotte, North Carolina. We are right next door to Mecklenburg, Charlotte, which is the largest county in North Carolina, but we are the fastest growing, one of the fastest growing districts um, in North Carolina. A lot of people move here because they don't want the hustle and bustle of Charlotte, and but they want to be close enough to it, and so that's what has us settled here. This is a very well, traditionally it's been a very Republican district, but not anymore, because there are a lot of folks like me here who, again, who have chosen to be right next door to the major metropolis in the South. And so we're, a nice little community, quiet. We've got some very rural parts, and then we've got some imitation cities, but we are just again one of the fastest growing areas in North Carolina.
All right. Now, when you're out there talking to people in the 34th district, what are you hearing from them? What's a big issue that you're hearing a lot about?
So, one of the things that we are consistently hearing about is the public school education. And folks are passionate about our public schools, and they are very disheartened by the work that folks are doing, because they are giving away public school dollars to wealthy North Carolinians to send their kids to private schools. And we want the funding to come to us. Our teachers are underpaid. We're ranking like 48th, 49th, 50th in in the nation in everything. And nobody wants to be that far down the line in everything. And when it comes to outcomes, when it comes to teacher pay, when it comes to just about everything, we're down at the bottom. And we need to fix that, because we do have some great people here. And we realize that our children's future sits in those public school dollars. And so we want to make sure that our children have the best possibilities that they can have, because they have legislators who support public schools and who support the teachers who want to be there, and the support staff and the social workers and everybody who is so poorly paid in our public school system.
And you are a former teacher, correct?
I am a former teacher. I came to North Carolina as a middle school English teacher. And as much as I love the classroom, I was unable to stay in that field because I could not thrive. I could not make enough money to raise a family and do what I needed to do. And so I quickly had to transition. And then I ended up in higher education, where I've been for over 20 years now.
How would you bring that experience as a teacher to the State House?
Oh, so one of the things about being a teacher is that you have to work with everybody from all walks of life, right? And so I think that's important to recognize just the diversity of folks who are across the state because your classroom represents that, someone from everywhere. But also the fact that you go in with clear objectives and you're able to measure it and figure out if you have accomplished that or not. I think that's something that we need in the state legislature. Folks who go in with clear objectives, who have, okay, here's what we're going to do because here's what we want to accomplish, and then here are the tasks that we need to do, and here's how we're going to measure if we've done it well. As a teacher, that's something that we learn from day one in our methods of teaching. Our legislators don't seem to make the connection that the end goal should match the things that we're doing. And if we are here for the betterment of the people and the constituents that we serve, then some of these things that we're pushing along and passing are not going to make them better. So our tasks, our tactics are not meeting our goals and objectives. And so I think they need a classroom teacher to help them figure that out.
All right, let me switch gears a little. Where's something where you and your opponent really differ on an issue?
Definitely, it would be public funds for public education.
Okay.
My opponent is, first of all, he's homeschooled all of his children. And so, even though he too has adult children, he doesn't care about public school education because he didn't even invest in it, you know? And so, he's the Senate Majority Leader. And so, every bad bill, every bad piece of legislation that has gone through North Carolina, he's probably been, if not the author of it, he sponsored it, and he's the Senate head, so he gets to take the credit for it. And so we definitely differ on public school education because I believe that public schools are the future for us, and we need to invest more in it. But we also differ on lots of things. You know, I believe in women's reproductive rights, and I have three young adult daughters, and I want to make sure that all women everywhere are protected and their rights are protected and they get to make the choices that they need to make when they want to start their family and when they don't. We don't need the government in the bedroom with us. We don't need them in the doctor's office with us. We don't need them to make tough decisions that we have to make in North Carolina right now. I mean, well, the whole nation, but we've got folks who are trying to push us back hundreds of years in rights for women, and we can't accept that.
So, what was it that finally made you run for Senate?
So for me, working as a community organizer for as long as I am and constantly out there trying to rally up the people and send them out to vote and telling them how important it is, and me telling people that it's important for you to send your neighbor to office. So I have tried to convince millions of people, not millions, that's exaggerating. I've tried to thousands, I will say. I've tried to convince them to run for office because we need to see ourselves in the people that represent us. And so, in all of the time that I'm telling people, you should run, you should do it, I'll support you. And finally, someone turned that around to me and said, you should run. And I had to really think about it. And I was like, I should run because I'm smarter than these folks. I have the pulse of the community out there. I know what people want. And I've been out there, like I've been preparing students for years to write policy and to be the, you know, the folks who are legislating in the state. So it makes sense that I should be that change that we're looking for in North Carolina. And so that's what convinced me, yeah, I'll do this because there's no one better equipped to do this because I've been a part of the work for so long. Why not be on the other side of the table so that we can have a fair advocate?
All right. I only have a few seconds left, but I've got to ask. This is my favorite question. Can
Okay.
you tell me something about your district that makes it very special to you?
Uh, Something about my district that makes it very special is just simply the community. I love raising my children here. A smaller district that's kind of like I said, out of the hustle and bustle of those folks. I love the pride that goes into our local um sports and like the football thing, like we've got this big thing with the Concord and Kannapolis is the Spiders versus the Wonders. And of course my children are all Wonders, and we're right now repping the Bell. And so anybody from this area knows that the Bell is in Kannapolis right now. And that small town rivalry type of stuff just keeps us connected and really keeps the community as one. And so that's what I love about this district.
Excellent. Dr. Kim Sexton Lewter, North Carolina Senate candidate for District 34. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian. I
Everybody,
appreciate it.
please get out and get to know her. She is a wonderful candidate, and we wish you the best of luck.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.